Today I'm going to review the two textbook series from the Japan Times called Genki 1 and Genki 2. I have to say up front that this review is for the first edition and the second edition was released a few years ago. However, according to their website, the second edition only has minor changes. Specifically, the regular course now includes the 6-CD audio program from the Teacher's Edition that has been converted to a single MP3 format disc. Next, they added more cultural notes and have updated the out-of-date vocabulary, such as using the term videotape. And lastly, they say they have made minor revisions to the grammar and practice sections. Okay, so now let's talk about the good and bad for Genki 1 and Genki 2. First, the good. I must say that I really love the content of this course more than any other course I have completed. The content is unique because it contains a lot of material related to how real Japanese people speak in everyday or casual situations. In contrast, most of the Japanese courses you will find on the market primarily teach what I call tourist Japanese. Tourist Japanese is my term for polite Japanese that you would normally use with shopkeepers or taxi drivers, where the verbs are in the form of the masu endings. But if you have ever listened to Japanese people talking in everyday situations, they also extensively use the dictionary forms of the verbs that end with a U instead of the mas. So to this point, Genki was one of the first courses that I studied that teaches Japanese short forms. For example, the polite form of I do not need it is いりません, while the short form is いらない. Based on this alone, I can highly recommend the Genki course, especially if your goal is to become advanced or fluent in Japanese. Each book has 12 lessons along with kanji writing exercises. There is also a Japanese dictionary and other tables and charts that will help you with things like verb conjugation. Each chapter contains a dialogue section, vocabulary list, grammar section, study exercises, and a Japanese dialogue section. In my opinion, the structure of this book is very similar to the Berlitz classroom lessons. Also, the book uses a lot of cartoon illustrations that make the text more enjoyable to study rather than just have blocks and blocks of text. Of course, there's also an audio component that's either on CD or MP3, depending on which version you buy. And finally, they have a website with an online study room that you can make use of for free. As I mentioned, Genki covers both kana and kanji characters. In fact, they dropped the Hepburn English-based system by lesson 2, and they force you to use both the kana and kanji characters. Genki, in my experience, is the most aggressive course I have taken that forces you to use the Japanese characters, which is a good thing. However, it's hard work. But don't worry, if you don't want to learn kanji, all the Chinese characters that are used in Genki always have the phonetic hiragana characters written in small font under the character. And they do this all the way through the end of Genki 2. So if you're planning to live in Japan or you're very serious about learning Japanese, I highly recommend studying Genki 1 and Genki 2. On the other hand, if you're studying Japanese just to travel or just do sightseeing, then Genki is probably overkill for you. Also, studying Genki is going to require much more time and effort compared to a listen and repeat course like Pimsleur. So if you don't have much free time, Genki will require a lot of dedication. On the downside, Genki is clearly designed to be used with a Japanese teacher or tutor, especially for the dialogue sections. In fact, the text includes a small booklet written in Japanese for your teacher. Although the course has an audio component, it's definitely not a listen and repeat audio course. The audio is used while you are reading the text so you can hear how the vocabulary, exercises, etc. sound spoken by a native Japanese person. However, even using the audio component, you're not really going to get the full benefit of Genki without having a Japanese teacher. For me, I used a tutor to complete Genki 1, but that became pretty expensive, so I ended up reading Genki 2 on my own. I can say that using a tutor was much more effective rather than self-study. So if you're thinking about studying Genki, I recommend finding a group of people who can split the cost of hiring a teacher or tutor, and then you can have study sessions together. Also, if you're part of a group, you're less likely to quit. Finally, the cost of Genki is fairly reasonable. The bottom line is, if you're planning to live and work in Japan, I can say that Genki is definitely one of the best courses outside of a language school that you can take on your own. In fact, I have paid top dollar to attend the Berlitz language school, and I found that the lessons and the structure of Genki were very similar to what they teach in Berlitz. And Berlitz is a course that is very strongly focused on getting people to learn and speak a new language. Thanks for listening.